You know, it started with healthcare. I had started a business in 2014, and it gave me the flexibility I needed to help take care of my mother. She'd had a bunch of strokes. I was really having difficulty with the 9-to-5 schedule. So I started this business, but when I got separated, I needed health insurance, and I knew that ACA was the only reason I could get it. Before that, I was denied, and it was either gender rate hikes or pre-existing conditions, which for me were just pregnancy. I just had a baby. After the election, you know, I got concerned, and I went to go see Harris, and I started with his staff and worked my way up. And I finally got to meet Andy Harris himself, and I figured pre-existing conditions were covered because a lot of people were worried about those, but probably not many people knew about gender rate hikes and the problem with women paying 30 to 80% more before ACA. So I said, will you vote against anything that allows for gender rate hikes? He told me, I don't think most people would mind if women paid a little more for health insurance. And then 3 days later, my mom passed away, and the only reason I'd been able to take care of her was because ACA let me take care of myself. And that was my snapping point, where I thought, you know, at the time there was nobody else in the race. But I looked at it and I said, if people knew what he was doing, they wouldn't vote for him again. And I jumped in shortly after. I filed in with the FEC in, I guess, April of last year. So congressmen go in there and they fight for the problems that they understand firsthand. That's human nature. It makes total sense that if you live a problem, that's going to be on the forefront of your mind, and that's what you're going to address. My problems are your dinner table issues. That's the ones I live. I don't have the luxury of owning a bunch of property. I don't have a pension. I'm a millennial. I'll never have a pension. You know, I can't afford to quit my job to run. But if we want our representatives to actually empathize with our problems, rather than trusting them to listen, then we need to start electing people that are more like your everyday American. And I also have 10 years of experience in the federal government, supporting it as a contractor and in a consulting capacity. And my job is quite literally to streamline it and to find better ways to spend money and better ways to manage these processes. I'm qualified both in a professional sense and from a life experience sense. I have something to offer that nobody else in this field does. The 2018 election, Trump's not running, Harris is. So I know what Harris does. In terms of the environment, he should be doing more to protect it. In terms of, I don't know, he endorsed Roy Moore. Aware of it. He voted against the Violence Against Women Act. He voted against hurricane relief funding for his own district, and then did it again for Puerto Rico. Nothing he's voting for is good. There are lots of reasons. Pick a thing. Pick a thing, and there's something to get angry about with Andy Harris. And there are different problems that impact rural communities, for sure. Even access to, you know, like maternity wards are shutting down, or healthcare centers. Mental health facilities are shutting down in rural areas, and that's a problem. You have to find a way to incentivize those providers to go back out there and also to fund that type of resources. Rural broadband is another one that's very important, and also responsible agricultural policies to where it's not so burdensome that you end up hurting the farming community, but not so lax that you end up destroying the bay or the environment at the same time. And actually, you know, Maryland's gone a long way. If you just had what the Maryland farmers are already doing to be environmentally responsible at a federal level, that itself would go a very long way. Those problems are more specific to the Eastern Shore, and you see them less in Harford County and Carroll and Baltimore. A lot of times though, and I talk to people all the time, their problems are basically, at the federal level, their problems are very much what my problems are in suburban Harford County, where it's your health care is too expensive and you're concerned about the funding in the public schools. and you know, or you're opposed to school vouchers, things like that. There's a lot of overlap. There's a lot of similarities in what people really want and what kind of opportunities they need. Harford County has 20% of the voters in the entire district. Just the piece of Harford County that's in District 1. It's obviously a critical area. It's also where I'm from. It's my backyard. I grew up there. And I know a lot of people there. I speak to conservatives all the time. A lot of them are switching registration to come support me in the primary. But a surprising number of them, actually. It makes me really happy. I think it was a matter of awareness. That they didn't know what he was doing, what Andy Harris was doing, how he was voting, what he stood for, and everybody's a little bit more awake now. And also talking to women, Democrat or Republican, it doesn't really matter, and saying your congressman thinks it's okay if women pay more for health insurance. And oh, by the way, has been pushing legislation which would do exactly that. Yet nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah, right.
You know, and that's more than half the population. So areas like that, absolutely. I mean, it's critical to get Harford County over there.
Yeah, and is there a particular town that you focus on when you say that? Is there a...
Bel Air is probably the most heavily populated area there, but there are a lot of people in northern Harford County too.
I thought I'd go over there and do a little bit of on the street kind of canvassing.
You should. Let me know how it goes.
Yeah, I know some friends over there. Thank you. Is there anything else you want people to know about you? You're a gardener, you're a
I like
watcher.
I like home improvement projects. If I weren't doing this, I'd be refinishing furniture or ripping out flooring or like gutting a bathroom or a kitchen. In some ways, running for Congress is more productive because my house was only built in 2010.